Joe Rogan slams Sunny Hostin after her on-air attacks against Karoline Leavitt. In a fiery clash between two outspoken personalities, Joe Rogan recently took aim at The View co-host Sunny Hostin after her controversial comments targeting Karoline Leavitt, a rising conservative political figure. The exchange has sparked widespread discussion, with Rogan, known for his no-holds-barred style, pointing out what he perceives as hypocrisy and bias in Hostin's criticism. This confrontation highlights the growing tension in political discourse, especially as media personalities continue to engage in heated battles over the country's ideological divide. The trigger: Hostin's remarks. The drama began during a segment on The View, a talk show notorious for its lively and often contentious discussions. Sunny Hostin, known for her outspoken liberal views, lashed out at Karoline Leavitt, a former press secretary for Congressman Elise Stefanik and an emerging voice in conservative politics. Leavitt, who has gained attention for her outspoken views and her candid criticism of the Biden administration, became the target of Hostin's sharp words after appearing on a conservative podcast. In the heated exchange, Hostin accused Leavitt of being a puppet for right-wing ideologies and suggested that her views were dangerously out of touch with reality. Hostin's remarks drew heavy criticism from conservative commentators who believed she had crossed a line, launching personal attacks rather than engaging in substantive political debate. Rogan's retort: defending Leavitt. Joe Rogan, the influential podcaster known for his eclectic guests and unfiltered opinions, didn't hold back in his response. On his popular Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Rogan took aim at Hostin's remarks, calling them both dismissive and disrespectful. Rogan, who has often criticized mainstream media for what he sees as bias and unfair treatment of conservative figures, argued that Hostin's attack on Leavitt was a prime example of the left's tendency to silence voices that don't align with their views. "You're attacking her for speaking her mind and having different opinions," Rogan said during the podcast, adding that Hostin's comments were emblematic of a larger trend of vilifying conservatives. "It's not about whether or not you agree with her. It's about the fact that you're attacking her because she's a young woman with conservative views. That's a problem." Rogan went on to express frustration with the mainstream media's treatment of conservative figures, particularly young women like Leavitt, who are making waves in the political landscape. "If you're a conservative woman in the media, they treat you like you're a villain, like you're a threat," he remarked. But when you look at what these people actually say, it's often just common sense stuff. They're not puppets. They're individuals with legitimate viewpoints. The heart of the conflict: ideological divide. Rogan's defense of Karoline Leavitt is a reflection of the broader ideological divide that has taken root in American politics. On one side, you have conservative voices who argue for smaller government, fiscal conservatism, and individual liberty. On the other, there are liberals like Hostin who advocate for progressive policies on issues like healthcare, racial justice, and climate change. This divide has become even more pronounced in the media, where personalities like Rogan and Hostin are often on opposite ends of the spectrum. What's particularly interesting about the situation is how both Rogan and Hostin represent broader cultural battles in the U.S. While Hostin's attacks on Leavitt suggest an effort to defend progressive values, Rogan's response highlights a rising backlash against what many perceive as the silencing of dissenting opinions. Conclusion: the battle for the narrative. The verbal sparring between Joe Rogan and Sunny Hostin is more than just a disagreement between two media figures. It's indicative of the cultural and political battles that continue to rage across America. As the country becomes more polarized, the media landscape is evolving into a battleground where every opinion seems to be contested. For now, it seems that Rogan and Hostin will continue to be part of this ongoing struggle, each fiercely defending their respective narratives. For Leavitt, the backlash from Hostin and support from Rogan could be a defining moment in her political career as she continues to rise within the conservative movement. Whether or not her star continues to climb will depend on how the public perceives these battles in the media and who ultimately controls the narrative.